Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's Wednesday, hump day, middle of the weekday, whatever you want to call it, day. Supposedly, the week is half over. Depending on how your week goes, this could be the start of your week. Anyhow, uh, I guess probably the biggest story of the day is Ted Turner passed away. The guy that invented 24-hour news, CNN, Turner News Network, Turner Classic Movies, invented the colorization process that got Gone in the Wind to be colorized. I liked it better in black and white, but that's alright. Uh, Maybe I'm more of a traditionalist, I don't know. Anyhow, he's passed away. I don't know whether he was still married to Jane Fonda or not. Probably not. But they were probably still good friends, so I think that's all they ever really were. Another little quick story here. Putin is acting scared. Uh, they're doubling and tripling his security. He's not allowed to go certain places anymore. They're afraid he's going to be assassinated. I guess things are going pretty bad in that country. He's got the big celebration coming up, the victory celebration or something coming up this next few days. Anyhow, they declare ceasefires in Ukraine and everything. We'll see if they hold to that. I doubt it. One report says they've already violated it. So we'll see what happens. You have to know that they're going to do something right before the deadline or right after the deadline. That's so you just you go into hiding if they declare a ceasefire like that. Um, and then Trump had to open his big fat mouth again, and he claims that the Pope's stance on Iran is putting Catholics in danger. The only person putting people in danger is Donald Trump and his little pal Hegseth. They're the ones putting people in danger. The Pope's not putting anybody in danger. All right? So why doesn't Trump just stick his head in a friggin' bowl of acid or something? I mean, he's the only guy who could possibly OD over skin color. Too much orange. And his skin dye. Alright. Now, I have something I want to do. I don't know if you'll like it or not. I have opinions about things that I never talk about. Like I don't believe in well, not that I don't believe in them. I just don't deal with religions. I don't believe in religion. I think it's a. I think it's. I don't know what I think it is, but it's not. It doesn't. It's not some magic solution to anything. What happens with the religion is you have to sit there and say one of them is right, and then you do it on blind faith because you can't prove anything. Bartenders are always told not to get involved in discussions of politics and religion because neither one of them has what they call an empirical answer, which means a simple absolute yes or absolute no. There is no absolute positive, absolute negative, however you want to say it. There isn't any in religion, and there isn't any in politics. So that puts that theory out the window, right? Let's talk UFOs. Now, how many people out there believe in them? Well, I don't know if I believe in them, but I believe I've seen some things going on up in that sky a couple of times that I really can't explain, and I couldn't have and nobody else could explain it. They claimed they didn't. The scientific community claimed it wasn't observed. Bunch of people on the highway with me saw it and were just scared shitless. About the time that encounters of the third kind came into on the screens and everything like that, I was driving home, and granted, I was had a few cocktails, but I was driving down the route, taking a girl home on Route 80, and it was a thunderstorm, 280 rather, and it was a thunderstorm in New Jersey. And you look down the road, and when you look down the road, you see up as well as down. You see the horizon, and I saw this. To me, it was a cloud, and it was going like this, bouncing all over the place, lightning shooting out of it. Really strange. I pulled over to the side of the road, and there was a bunch of people there looking at it, so I know I was seeing it. I have no idea what it was. I called a couple of friends of mine up in the what do you call it? The astronomy field, I guess it would be, because they look at telescopes and stuff like that. And I called a couple of people up on the news stations and said, "Does anybody else see this?" And yeah, there were quite a few people that saw this. And the United States government said nothing was observed. So we were all mass hallucinating. I'd say where I was about 50, but then it went down the highway more, you could see it. You don't know how many other people looked at it as it was moving along the highway. It wasn't really, it was just bouncing off other clouds. It was, like it had some sort of energy in it, and when it came in contact with something else, it went the other way, positive and negative. That's what I thought it was. It was just a weird phenomena. But, when they said they didn't see it, and nothing was reported to them, then I knew it was something, because that's what the government does. When they don't know what it is, they say they never saw it. They have no idea what you're talking about. They make you look stupid. But we weren't stupid. I wasn't trashed. If I was trashed, there were a couple other incidences I was involved in where I was trashed that maybe that had something to do with it. I pulled up at a castle in... I forgot the name of the community. It was a gated area in West Orange, New Jersey. And I pulled up to it, and we saw something running up the side of the parapet, and I don't know, and looking over the edge, and I have no idea what that was. It could have been a kid in a costume, whatever. But it made a pretty good time if it was a kid. I want that kid working for me, robbing banks or something. The kid was a good climber. But when you look down in the backyard, there had to be at least 200 or 300 cats staring up at this parapet. And I said, "That's it, I'm out of here." I never had... Only the people that were there ever talk about it. We never heard anything about it anywhere else. And only the few of us that were there. And we were young, and it's possible it was our imagination, but, you got 6 guys. Well, actually, no, there was 2 cars, so you had almost 12 people looking at this and trying to figure out what the hell it was, So I've seen a lot of strange things. I've seen, I guess you could call them ghostly things in my life. But then I get to see things that would be considered attached to UFOs. But anyhow, actually that thing we was talking about that was bouncing all around acted like one of the ships that came off the mothership in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So that didn't help my mind with that. But I think that was after I saw that, But anyhow, those of you that don't believe in extraterrestrials or other life in the world, well, there's more than one universe in the galaxy. The galaxy's made up of a lot of little universes and stuff like that, and there's more than one galaxy out there. We sort of pass through each other once in a while. It causes a lot of problems. So if you look around and you say this, there's billions of stars up there. So to say that what they say is that we have never found and we don't expect there to be life as we know it anywhere in the multiverse, or whatever you want to call it. Well, the key word there is as we know it. You know, that's why they picture aliens as non-human creatures. All right, because if they had them as human creatures, we'd have to be able to find a planet that was very much like ours, water, air, all that, you know, various things that we have. But what's to say some creature hasn't developed that breathes nitrogen, or hydrogen, or sulfur for that matter? You know, what's to stop us? What's to stop that from happening? Why can't that be? So why do we say that there's no life out there but ours? That we're the only things in the universe, and that these so-called abductions, which I'm not so sure about. I don't actually get involved in that, but I do believe that we've been watched and observed. And if they're that smart, they're never going to come in contact with us. You know. But the ones it's like kidnap. When you have somebody's kidnapped, they never kidnap a president of a country or a nuclear scientist or anything like that. They usually kidnap somebody of average or lower than average intelligence. And one of the reasons for that is when you test that, when you go to test the civilization's IQ level, you never look at you look at its highest and its lowest. Okay? It's someplace in the middle is what you're supposed to get. But the lowest, if you study the lowest average intellectuals for a period of centuries or something like that, you will see that they gradually, some of them will go up and some of them won't. And that's how, but if they go up, so does everything else usually. So that's how you determine the actual IQ or intelligence quotient, whatever you want to call it, of a civilization. So that's why they kidnap, you know, that would be one reason they would kidnap these people, you know. The other reason is nobody's going to believe them. And they're right, nobody believes them. You know, these people are screwed up for years after that, and nobody believes them. Their fame only lasts about a year or so, you know, and then they're back to being ridiculed. They usually go into hiding, or they just shut up and don't say, and change their names, move, and don't say anything anymore, because that's what we do. You know, we persecute people that are different. But I believe that there is someplace there is life. You know, what it looks like. And if you assume that UFOs are real, then you have to realize that they're smarter than we are, far smarter than we are. If they're not, and these are Earth-based events, then there's somebody out there that's a hell of a lot smarter than any government out there. So, which is possible too. But I like to think that. But from a statistical point of view, all right, based upon the fact that there's billions, quite possibly a trillion or so planets out there, or stars, which means that there could be even more billions of planets, even asteroids. I mean, life can exist. If it's going to be different than us, it can be anywhere. So the statistic says that the probability is that there is something out there somewhere. Whether or not we'll ever see it or not is not. You can't analyze that statistically, because it depends on too many things. Everybody that's alive today will probably never see a spaceship from another galaxy or something land on this planet, or communications with other planets. Just simply because it takes too long to go between them, even if you have the speed of light and everything else. But I always like to kid people and say, you want to know something? Here's something. How about we're like an ant farm? Some aliens brought a form of basic life, like DNA, planted it on the earth in its development stages, and walked away from it. And every 10,000, 25,000 years, they come by, check it out, see what's going on, where we've advanced, how far we've advanced, how fast we've advanced, trying to get an idea of truly how fast that they develop, and what will there be the mutations affecting people on their people on another planet. Now people look at me like I'm friggin' nuts when I say something like that, but I like that because I like to get them talking about shit like that. You know, that's what I try to do here. That's what I really want to do. Is sometimes I want to come out with something that's so outrageous. It's possible, but it's so outrageous, you know, and you get people talking and thinking. And the thing is, you have to think about these things. If you go out there and you say, no, that's it, that ain't happening, no way, then go stick your head in the ground, and you're never going to go anywhere, and you're never going to get above the level of life that you're in right now. You're never going to advance yourself economically or otherwise, because you're just too stupid to take a chance and believe something else, or just to think about something else. You know what I mean? You're not thinking about it is all you have to do. You don't have to believe it, but think about it. You know, there are ultimate possibilities out there, but if you just deny something based upon a religious belief or a lifestyle or whatever, you say, nah, no way, then you've got a problem. And we have that kind of problem now because people believe the white race is the superior race. And you have to understand that Jesus wasn't white. Jesus was Arab. Jesus was a Jew. Okay? Peter is the one that developed the Christian religion, not Jesus. So get your shit straight. That's why I don't deal with religion, because there's too much bullshit out there. And people tell you what they want you to believe, not what's believable, you know? So anyhow, and just remember, you're worshiping the Son. If you're a Catholic, like I was raised a Catholic, what I couldn't understand is you're not just supposed to worship false idols, but you worship the Son of God on a cross. Okay? Think about that for a while. Alright, now, that's it for today. I hope I really pissed off a bunch of you people. I hope you're just think I'm crazier than dog shit. But wait, if you do, go over to the live video and see what I say over there, huh? Alright, I'll be there in about 20 minutes. In the meantime, everybody, take good care of yourselves. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow.